if you can hear me, and also let us know where you're at. I see people coming in, and you can type into the chat area and say where you're at, and also if you can hear me, and if you can see the screen. And in a few minutes, we'll get started here with our live session, Talk with Wayne. And if Wayne doesn't, if he is tied up somewhere, we will show a replay of one of our popular podcast, previous ones that you might have seen. And if you have seen it, you're going to enjoy the second time. I'm pretty sure. And if you haven't seen it, this is going to be great for you. So I see Douglas. Douglas Ness is from Alaska. Hello. How are you? Thanks for joining, Douglas. All right. So we're going to wait a few minutes, a couple of minutes more. Let's see if Wayne gets on. And then we'll go to a replay of if Wayne is somehow not able to join, then we'll go to a replay, and you'll enjoy that as well, I'm pretty sure. By the way, is this a holiday in USA? Anybody know if this is a holiday in the USA? Because I'm not from USA, so I Monday was okay. Monday was a holiday. Memorial Day, right? Thank you, Stephen. Monday was a holiday, and today is Friday. Today is okay. So I am AI assistant. Okay, so we have a couple of AI. Levi's here. And more AIs will join us. And that's great. This is technology. So anyhow, I think we can go ahead and start the replay session. Wayne is probably not going to make it today. If he does, we'll have a live session. If not, we'll watch the replay, which is equally enjoyable. And some of you haven't seen it before. So we'll give it a minute. In a minute, we'll start that. Okay, so let's see. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start a replay. Looks like. So, all right, so enjoy.
Hi, friends. Sierra here with the e-community. We have Mark and Arif in the background doing all the stuff for us today, per usual. Thanks, guys, for being here. And we have our guest speaker, Michael from Ecologia. Is that how I'm pronouncing it right or no?
Yeah, that's a good one. Ecologia.
Okay. So my college classes that I took a long time ago wanted to make me pronounce it as Ecologia in the Spanish term. So I was like, I wonder if I'm doing that right. So
That's good.
yeah, we have Michael here. If you guys are listening live with us, please put some audience engagement in there. Questions for him, comments, questions for me, Mark or Reed. They're behind the scenes. And if you're listening to this as a podcast or watching it as replay, thank you for being here. So we'll go ahead and jump in. Michael, why don't you just introduce yourself, tell us about where you're at, and show us what your pictures that you have, and kind of just describe what Ecologia is.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks for hosting. My name is Michael Judd. I currently live in Maryland on the east coast of the U.S. In Appalachia, in the Appalachian Mountains. Actually in the Blue Ridge mountain range, which is a beautiful part of the country. I lived 20 years of my adult life living in rural Latin America. Really good fortune to live with indigenous cultures and just very rural cultures. For a big part of my life and learning and focusing always on plants and natural building and just sort of living with and within the ecologies. Down there, mostly tropicals. But being from this part of the world, I've returned. I've been back about 10 years. And I've hybridized my life and my experiences coming from originally from sort of the edge of suburbia and rural America growing up. Also, I grew up some in northern England in very rural areas. And then, grafting that together with living, very rural in Latin America, I now have this life that blends it all. And I think you can see a picture here of our home. This is a circular straw bale home that we built. Took us 4 years to build it, mixed up with life. And all the wood in the house comes from our land. This is, and all of the doors and windows were either sort of reclaimed or hand built as well. The roof is a living roof, so it's soil, compost, and sedums, very drought tolerant plants. You can see the back of it here. It was a labor of love. It is really a piece of art to build. And here's a really cool aerial recently taken. We have a pawpaw festival. I'm happy to talk about that as well, because we're looking at how to bring together the crossroads of culture, ecology, and economy. And of course, festivals that celebrate different types of tree crops, fruits. In this case, the pawpaw, which is basically a tropical fruit that grows in the north, which is pretty phenomenal in itself. But certainly deserves a lot of celebration. And so we have a festival each fall. We get a lot of people, and someone had a drone, so we got this aerial shot. So we live in the Blue Ridge Mountains, so it's beautiful. Lots of wooded areas. In the areas that we have open, we plant food forests. And happy to go into that more as well. It's not growing food in the forest; it's growing food like the forest. So when we're planting fruit trees, nut trees, our gardens, mostly, perennials, then we're designing them as a healthy ecosystem so that they really support themselves. And our house is very much like that too. So the home, well, I jumped ahead. Here's my crazy crew. These are the critters that live in this habitat. It's my wife Ashley and our son Wyatt. And our little
Beautiful
big girl.
Family.
Thank you. Yeah, that's Jaya. She's 2. Wyatt's 8. So we got quite the little eco circus going on here. But I guess what I'm getting ready to show here is actually how we built this house. And what's really cool, many cool things about this house, but it's a hybrid. It's a hybrid of a lot of what I'd learned living in Latin America, doing natural building, learning to literally build with what's in your environment. And here, back in the U.S., it's definitely a different environment, but we do have a lot of woods, and we're also kind of down by a creek. So we wanted to be very mindful of our foundation in sort of a wetter area. So this is the foundation of our house, and it's just packed gravel. It's what's called a rubble trench foundation. And basically it's 3 feet wide, 3 feet deep, and it's just packed gravel. On top of that, we built our house. So any water that's moving underground or above ground, when it comes to our house, it actually gets drawn as a drain and out the front. So there's nothing to ever fail in this foundation. It'll be there for thousands of years. The oldest structures on the planet are on stone foundations. So, and this is all coded and permitted. So these things are very realistic in many environments to work with. So I want to share that rubble trench foundation for the foundation of the house. We round wood timber framed the house, which means that we kept all of the trees in their round state, which took a while, for us to put the joinery together. But we really wanted to kind of keep that energy. And all of the wood in the house came from our land, and I'd say 90% of it storm fallen wood. So we really it was a windfall. That was probably the only easy part. And then there's over 550 straw bales in the house that actually make up the walls. And here you can see we did some workshops. A lot of community was built around building the house, and that energy is still very much, part of our lives and our home.
I see a house in the background. Is that where you guys were residing while it was being built?
That is my folks' home. So great question. We collectively steward about 25 acres here since the 70s. And yeah, when I was ready to come back to living in the U.S., I was looking at options. At the time, my parents, were around 70 years old. So I had to make a decision, did I want to be far or did I want to be near?
Mm-hmm.
You can see what I chose because
that's great. Being connected to family is always amazing.
Yeah, I didn't want to be so far as they aged, and I'm grateful. My father transitioned 6 years ago, so about 4 years into to creating our home here. It was his time to move along, and I was grateful that we were here to hold space for that. And we actually created a home cemetery on our land, together, my father and I and our family, in preparation for him and for the rest of us. And so we really practice full circle in looking at how to hold space for each other. Our children have been born in our homes. Jai was born in this home. Wyatt was born where we were staying while we were building the home. My father died at home, and we sat with him for 3 days and buried him ourselves. So really, and we don't know how to do any of this stuff. We don't have a culture that's given us this. We are just following our hearts, and we have each other to support in doing these things. But I don't want anyone to think that we've got some roadmap. We're just doing it. We're just going for it. There's a picture of how lush the roof is here. It's really quite magical. And,
wow.
And the interior is gorgeous. Yeah, we put a lot of energy and time
into. Very gorgeous. It looks like an Airbnb.
Yeah, it would be quite the Airbnb. Yes.
Yeah.
And we put a lot of love and art into the house. Largely because we want to inspire other people to realize that you can work with very.
Hello.
Hey Wayne, you're on. All right. So I'll stop the replay so we can go live with you, Wayne. So yep.
Get rid of that hand.
Okay.
Lower. Got it. Hey, everybody. Sorry I'm late. I am here at Riggins, our wonderful, amazing place up in the mountains in Colorado. I'm going to walk around a little bit. Sorry I was late. I had two guests come right as the webinar was supposed to be starting. We are not very heavy on help here and having staff. And so I had to deal with them before I was able to jump on here. I actually do want to talk to you today, tell you some cool things that we're doing here. That was also a great presentation that Mark was doing from one of our historic webinars. Mark, when I didn't do that interview, so when was that done? So that was not one that I remember because I wasn't doing it. And
Yeah.
was that Sierra?
Yes, she was doing it. Yep. And it was like I think it was during COVID time. Yeah, most probably during that time.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounded like it was fun, and we can replay it again. It's very easy having our replays, and this way you'll get something live today. So I am sitting in the room that I stay in when I'm here. We have 11 separate bedrooms with private baths, and then we have a large group bedroom that has men's and women's bath, men's and women's showers, and all. I don't think I've even shown that before, and I do like to point that out. And then it will sleep up to 40 in that room. It would be really crowded. I wouldn't say it'd be super comfortable to have that many staying there. Of our 11 rooms here, 5 of them have 2 double beds, excuse me, 2 queen size beds. I'm going to walk around and show you a few of those. And again, I'll even show this room. I cleaned it up on purpose to be able to show you here today. I got to flip my screen around. So one of the things we're blessed with when we bought this place 6 months ago was amazing artwork. And some of this is originals of various Western artists. And there's a great picture of trout and salmon. And then this is looking away from the bed that I sleep in, which is here, which is made up. That is an original piece of artwork, which the engineer in me is upset because it's crooked right now. Let's get it straight on the wall. If you can see, that's a moose, and I think this might be a Russell. I'm pretty sure. Russell is an amazing Western artist, and we haven't had that one appraised yet. We need to. It doesn't even have a cover on the painted. Here is a Native American, which is not an original. And I'm not sure. I've looked this artist up before, but I'm not sure about his details. There's the typical sort of one of the bathrooms. This is the one I use, so it's got a little bit of a mess. But they all have tubs or showers or combinations, and then they have ultraviolet lights for additional heat. I've shown a little bit of this in previous webinars. Mark, anytime that somebody comes in with a question regarding this place, stop me, even right in the middle, and
Got it.
talk about it. There's not as much light in here as I'd like. I would add it. We're watching there on this smart TV a show, a Great American Family. I don't even know, but look at all the, again, Native Western art. Look at this one. This is a beautiful original. And you can see that's very large. And then again, the only negative, like I said, is it's pretty dark in here. Like this has got the light on, and yet it's very dark. And then just different, you can see all the different artwork and sort of vintage chairs. This is where we can do group meetings or dinners and such, and we're working on some things right now where that's a 55-inch smart TV. So a person could have a microphone. You wouldn't need one in here. And as you can see, it seats 16 around these two tables. This one could seat as many as 4. You could have at least another little auditorium type seating and another 8 seats here. And then maybe even another 2 or 3 over there. This is our office area. Again, an old vintage grandfather clock. And then look at all this really cool Native American and Western American art. And this is the highlight piece that we really do need to get appraised. Those are 3 king salmon that are actual size that they are in the wild. And those are carved out of stone. That's a stone carving. And then I'm going to walk outside. We've got other guests coming in right here. This is the back deck. And again, beautiful day. A little overcast. It's actually slight percentage chance for some showers. Since I'm out in the wind, Mark, make sure to tell me if for some reason the audio is not as good as it needs to be.
Okay.
Again, this is just looking at views around the site, outside of the work, outside of the lodge. And I'm looking at down towards the pond. That's about 1.5 acres with trout and you know, it's also got carp in it. That's irrigation line. So we have a very strong irrigation system. And I'll show some of the pipes up close with that. And this is our hot springs pool and hot tub, where the water in the hot tub portion is 105.8, pretty much year round. And we've been here every season now, but middle of summer, it would get any hotter then. Because we have water that comes out of the ground at 4 or 5 different temperatures, depending on which well source we use. I don't think I'm going to have a signal if I go over that way, but that's our stable building originally that we're turning into a dog kennel. We're going to have another stable building next to it. That's a horse trailer right outside of it because I actually brought a horse up this trip. And you're going to see the young man that was walking there come into the picture. I don't know why he was going over there, but he's going to get some birds. What happened here? I lost my picture, Mark. There he goes back.
You're back.
Okay. I don't know why he's walking over there. He's going to scare some birds here in a second, which I really don't want him to do, that are in a cage that I just put up 2 days ago. Actually, maybe he's just going for a walk and stretching his legs because it looks like he's walking around the pond. Oh, they have their truck down there. I don't know what they're doing down there. Maybe that's Brad. He is my carpenter guy. And we've shown some video of this before. This is a pond that is not running right now because one pipe, and that's all, it's got some cracks in it. We just haven't gotten, it hasn't been high enough on our priority to get it running yet. But the pipe with the cracks is this 2-inch right here. And again, you're just seeing some old artifacts that are around it. That's a waterfall, so that when it's running, water just comes out right there and it runs up the end of the waterfall. It comes back down and it goes in that green structure right there and then recirculates. And then we can add water to it when we need it. And this is cold water, although we could put hot water in here and have that be a hot water source if we wanted it to be. The pool is, like I said, probably twice as big as a backyard swimming pool. It's 2 feet deep at the shallow end. There's a seating area around it. The hot tub seats probably 8 comfortably. Get the a diving board out here in the deep end where I think it gets its greatest depth at 6 feet, which would be borderline too shallow to dive. That's a underwater cleaning unit right there that's not running, and it gets kind of clogged at times. And I bet I'm going to see that it's turned off, so I'm going to actually turn it on, and you'll see it moving here now. You can just barely see it crawling along there. It's not moving very fast. There we go. Now it's moving. It's going up that direction. So that's cleaning the bottom of the pool. You can see that there was some accumulation because it's been turned off. This is a flow-through pool, which means water comes into it and goes out directly. It doesn't stay in here for any length of time. We do no treating of it. It's completely as it comes out of the ground. Doesn't have any kind of a treatment process for it. We do skim it, and we do at some point when we're not going to be using it for several days. And it looks like it got stuck again there. It might be clogged with material that I'm going to need to get in and get out of it. We do not have long-term guests right now. Our guests that are here have just come in the last little bit. This is looking at the other part of the seating area around it. And there's our lawn chairs up there. We keep about 2 acres that is mowed, like a golf course type of a setting, so that we can do weddings and other sorts of things. This is example of this year's growth, because this is not yet a little fire pit. We've got those spread out all around the property. So where we want to, we can just do little overnight fires if it's not too windy. But that's the way the grass, that's how tall it's grown this year, because then this would be that height if we weren't mowing it on a regular basis. And this probably got mowed 2 days ago. And down there's our greenhouse, which is not real large, but about 1,000 square feet. And it's old, but it's got louvered roof sections, so we can cool it off in the summer, which you actually need to do quite often. Rarely is it too cold in the winter. Even when it just gets sun, we get only 15 inches of rainfall a year here. We didn't even have probably an inch of total snow. And they say this is a banana area. I'm walking down the steps from this pool deck. Well, before I do that, it's got another second little level up here that people can sit in if you're just hanging out. There could be easily 100 people around the pool. I'm not sure I'd want to have that many, but that's the number that could be here. Trash receptacles and things. You can see the lights. We leave them on. They're LEDs. We probably should turn them off, but they're useful for guests to be able to see different things. I guess they just drove their truck up to the area. They're actually cleaning a bunch of their tools out because they're moving on to another job right now. We're in between large projects. So this is our meeting room and fun room. Obviously, we have a pool table here. Again, some really cool art. Again, here's a team relay. The relay, I mean, it's a wood carving by Mark Seaman. I have looked him up. He is a guy that is pretty well known. I'm not sure about him. I'm not that kind of an artist. That's a rattlesnake skin, pretty big one, which we do have rattlesnakes here. These are our restrooms in the pool building, all of which are in great shape and work well. Even some, we're Allen Brothers boat and bait house probably really old artwork in there. Nice pool table, slate top, really expensive when it was new. The second bathroom, turn the light on. Large bathrooms, frankly. Here is a bunch of artwork of, this is just a map, a globe. Like I told you, I've got another stupid call coming in. Am I still on, Mark? Because now I don't see the video.
Yeah, you're on. We see the artwork
Okay,
on the
I'm not
yes.
seeing anything. You're seeing this bathroom, is that right?
Yes, the
Yes.
bathroom wall. Yeah.
All right, now, so this is another meeting area. These are two large tables that can be arranged in various ways. We could arrange this in a complete auditorium style too, where we
Well,
take
I
the
think
tables.
I think your camera is frozen. You might have to like
I just told you, that's what I asked you before, Mark. So,
right. Yeah, there you go. Now it works. It
all
works.
right, okay, that's what I asked about. Again, a mountain lion and a bear, mule deer, those are all native species to this area. Common around here. I've seen all of them on this trip. No, haven't seen the mountain lion. Old area that they would have put a TV in the past. And they don't make them that small hardly anymore. And places underneath it for DVD players or CD players and so on. Looking back towards the front, we added that basketball hoop. Again, I'll go over and show the artwork, but first, this is a sauna. And it is not infrared or any of those type. This is a hot, natural. I think I can't get more light in here right now than what we have, but a true hot water sauna. So, and you wish you could smell it. This is cedar. It's in here and it just smells amazing. And then those rocks get heated up from a hot water heater that's right underneath there and bring heat up into it. And you can see there's probably room for 4 or 5 people to be sitting up there, and you could have 2 people down here. A very old school kind of sauna. Everywhere's got amazing views. So this is looking back out at a little different angle to the pond. There used to be decks out here, and through the years, this is a very old building. They broke down. We've got to be adding them again. These are the mountains around us, which are just flat out beautiful. Again, this artwork, this is also a Russell, which I mentioned is a really famous. And if Alicia was on, I didn't see her name, she'd be looking it up. And I think that some of these Russells, if they're original, are worth a lot. I mean, a lot of money. This
Yeah.
is a Russell original here, a Russell also.
Yep,
And
Alicia is
I don't think it's an original. I think it's a what's called a signed but not numbered print, which has got a higher value than, let's say, here's, so look, and it says 1909. That's the year that he did it. There's William Russell. And I can't see exactly what it says back here. I'd have to get a magnifying glass to look at it. But again, I'm not a art appraiser by any means. I do know what looks to me to be nice and good art. So right next to this big room is the sleeping room. I mentioned it could sleep in bunk beds up to 40. And I think I exaggerated that. You could have 2 people uncomfortably in each of these beds. So normally there'd be 1, and really you could have 2, 3 more of them. So this will seat 12, not 40. And this is where the showers are in this building. And they're in the middle of that's not a shower door, that's a screen door that has come off of. Again, remember I said there were decks all the way around it. This particular room does have a deck still. But then right now it's set up to where this is for a smaller number of people. And again, unbelievable views. There's the greenhouse. We have a suspension bridge that's 600 feet long going over the river, what you're seeing running right there. I don't think I'll have a signal if I try to go all the way down there, although I might. I'll try it near the end of the webinar. But anyway, again, a large seating area. Where you're seeing some leaks there, this place needs some work. No question. I just got lights in here. I turn these on. Got to light this up more. And that's just because that's the pool deck that's right up above here. So there is some leaking going on from the pool deck that's just right up above us here. So what are we going to do? What are we doing here? We literally just got this. We're doing seminars and events. We've had multiple weddings that have been every time. This is an internal call coming. And as you guys know, I told you I get so stinking many of these. And I got to see, am I still on, Mark?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay. I'm going to walk over to what we call our cabin building. We're doing it. I've said a number of times. We're able to do here what we could never do in Colorado because in Idaho County, where we are based, there is no zoning and there's no permitting. You could build, I joke about it, but the Empire State Building, if you wanted, and you could build the Indy 500 racetrack here if you wanted. And those would be approved uses. Here's a part of the irrigation line because we get our irrigation water where we have exclusive water use of what's called Warm Springs Creek. And it is that direction, that way, about a mile from here. And we have a mile and a half of frontage on the Salmon River, which is called the River of No Return. It is the longest contiguous river in the United States that doesn't have a dam on it.
Okay, we lost your signal.
Your tanks. Am I still here? What's going on?
Yeah, we lost you for a second, but yeah, you're good.
All right. That's our lodge that I was in when we started over there. Again, this is, I'll mention it again in case you lost me. This is our root cellar upper end of this. Sure we have. You're gonna see a lot of water here in a second.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's gonna come a lot more than that.
All right. So that's like a fire hydrant.
Yes. That's coming from that stream I said, Warm Springs Creek, for which we have exclusive irrigation rights. And it's cold water. So it's probably less than 60 degrees right now, and it's 90 degrees outside. That's looking up at our cliffs that are above the property, or on the property, but above the lodge. I'll turn this off now. So when this runs, that piece just easily gets attached to it. And there's a little piece that just sticks over the top of that and it holds it on. And that's the way it works. Pretty cool. And now I'm going to go over quickly to this cabin building. Yeah, this is the young man we saw over here, but there's 3 rooms in there, and I might wait to go ahead and video that when they're out of there. They're moving their tools. This is our well, again, another dedicated source, and it's 300 feet, 240 feet down.
Okay.
To develop that. What's up, Mark?
No, the video stopped for a second. Now it's okay.
when it went probably 100 different varieties of trees here, huge numbers of different kinds. Again, just in the last 3 days, I've seen bear, elk, deer, raccoon, no mountain lions. And the bear was at quite a distance, so not to be something to worry about. The hot springs comes out at just one location and spreads out, although we found additional springs down below it, various parts of the property. So it's out right over this way. I'm going to show it to you. You've seen this before. That's my dog truck. So I do have some of my lovely dogs in there. I actually might just let them out while we're talking here. This is the area that they're actually acting like they'd love to get out and run around a little. So I'm going to let them out. This is Viking. The guy. Viking. This is Puck. Female. And the last one's going to be a Brittany, which is safe, which is cis. I'll just let them run right down below me here and show you parts of our hot water system. So the hot springs comes out right over there. You can see a lawnmower over on the other side of that car. And it comes out at 118 degrees, right in between that lawnmower and that blue box there. And those are all those, by the way, are blackberries and raspberries that are up above the parking area. And then that four-wheeler, the hot springs comes out right above it, where we're going to go to right now. We even got a little sign that says it. And again, those are very forageable blackberries and raspberries, as many as you'd want to grab and eat for a long period of time. That is a climbable, technical climbable cliff, several of them, where we're going to put a via ferrata course in. By the way, this is flowing stronger today. This spread out overnight. I'm not sure exactly why, but for whatever reason today we have more flow. Well, there's where it's coming out, right there. It was bubbling air just a second ago. And it's hot on the dog. I'm not sure why she's even walking there. And these are blackberries and raspberries, kind of a combination of both of them. They actually are weeds here. They grow out of control. And we've got to do, we don't use chemicals on them. So we've got to cut them all the time. And that is a pain. I can't walk much farther than here or you'll lose the signal, I believe. Where you're seeing the cattails growing that we haven't harvested is because the hot water spreads out, and we're going to actually be putting in additional hot tubs all over this area, natural swimming pools, essentially, with the water that is going to be from 106 down to in the 90s or maybe lower, and then we'll have a very end of it down there towards the river itself. We're going to have a cold plunge, so we'll actually just bring cold water into there. A plant that grows a little bit naturally here, and where it's normally doesn't grow at all, is hops, which is used in a lot of different beer production and such. This is a hops plant. That those green leaves, they look a little bit like raspberries or blackberries. Idaho is nicknamed as the gem state. And if the sun was shining, you would see just glows of gold and silver that aren't necessarily the metals, gold or silver, but they're that color. And so people came here and they'd find these minerals in the rocks that looked like gold and silver. And here's an example. See how that's kind of a beautiful glowing color? The sun's not on it. If it was shining, you might think that was gold or silver. It's essentially fool's gold or fool's silver, which kind of looks like it, and it's not. We've done a lot to improve this area because it used to flood more than we wanted it to. So you can see where the grass isn't yet growing very well there. That's all going to come back in this summer as we're beginning to irrigate. We just started irrigating about 3 weeks ago. And now we'll irrigate through the end of October, maybe even a little bit into November. We use a lot of ATVs, all-terrain vehicles, or UTVs. And here's a typical, we call it sit on top, a little older, and it's got a torn seat, which a bear actually tore that seat that's on there. And it's a Polaris, a really nice four-wheeler. Again, that's a zero clearance mower over there because you've got about 5 acres of lawn that we do mow. 2 acres here and another 2.5, 3 over on the other side. And you can tell our buildings are log. They're made out of logs. But I'm going to show you the other ATV if the signal continues down here. It's parked, you're seeing it at a distance right now, but that's a Kawasaki Terex. And it's a 4-seater, so it's a lot more sort of a comfortable, so it's what we can bring guests in if they want to get a ride up to the lodge area. Down there, by the way, and I know I wouldn't have a signal down there, that's an old 1850s vintage wagon that would have been pulled by either mules or oxen or horses. And all the places where the cattails are, there are more springs coming out of the ground. And so we can't mow around them. There's also birds up in here that these dogs will point or try to find. That's why Sissy's climbing up into there a little bit. You have to tell me if we lose the signal, Mark. I think we'll be all right down to the Terex. Over there is our horse trailer, our large one. That is a 5-horse slant trailer that doesn't have one in it yet, but we're going to build the living quarters. That's the big white object. That's 34 feet long, and it's called a fifth wheel, which means it's the ball on it attaches to the bed of a pickup truck. Here's the Terex. You can see game trails, by the way, on the hillsides in various different places. It's the wettest time of the year. I think I've shown videos before where there's snow up on the ridges. That's 2,500 to 3,000 feet higher than we are here. This is a pretty nice, it's not fancy. It's just very functional. That's a bird crate. I'm not going to be able to take you down to where we have our birds stored now that we use for training the dogs. We got quail and pigeons. Any questions, Mark?
I don't see
Comment?
questions. Oh, there's one, might be a question. So in Japan, there are natural hot soaking ponds called onsen. Might become a big international attraction. Okay.
Well, there's thousands of them around the US, and I'm sure in Europe too. Anywhere where you have basaltish, magma, volcanic rock, you're going to potentially have water that's hot from the internal core of the earth come up to the surface. And that's what causes hot springs. What's somewhat unique about ours is usually those hot springs have very alkaline water, pH of 9, for example. And that's good in some ways. If you're going to drink it, potentially people say there's really good value to high pH water. But if you're bathing in it, there is potentially some health and wellness benefits. But there's a question about it sometimes. Why not let it just be neutral? And then you can add some kind of a base to it that will increase the pH if you want to. Sissy, calling my Brittany, who decided to go for a little run. She probably found some birds down that way. So what's our time, Mark? 3:50. We've got 10 minutes.
Yep.
I think I'm just going to sit for the end here out in the beautiful, little bit of overcast
Yeah,
weather.
that looks
We are
beautiful.
supposed to potentially get some thunderstorms this afternoon. Those do look like we call thunder boomers. We don't get anywhere near the kind of thunderstorms that we got in Colorado, though, that you heard me talk about any number of times.
Mhm. Okay, so here's a
That's my puppy crying.
okay.
Yes.
Here's a question. Have you heard about the McCain regenerative agriculture game.
The McCain.
Yes.
How's that spelled, Mark?
MCCAIN.
No, I'm not. I don't know anything about that. Great
Okay.
question, and good. Maybe something we should research. Maybe put
Right.
that. We'll get that down, and we'll spend some time
Yeah.
figuring that out.
Yeah, we
Viking
can.
likes to pick up rocks, so he's got a rock in his mouth.
Okay. And there's a so the paintings of Michael Russell. So
It's
I did
William Russell.
William Russell. Okay. Uh, so Alicia did some research. She put in some links to it. She didn't put a price to. I don't see how much they're worth. But
Well,
but
I know that at auction, some original Russells have sold for over $1 million.
wow. Yeah. So so that's really valuable, expensive ones.
I have a dog that's going nuts over here that I'm going to go. That's my puppy that's in the truck when she knows these others are out. Now I hope Sis comes back. Sissy, here. I'm just calling her. I have to go that way to look for, give some food to Yeti, the horse, too, which you didn't get to see today. I think we saw him last week, didn't we, Mark? Didn't I walk out and show Yeti?
Yes, I saw your horse.
Yeah. All right. Well, and we need to check that out. Viking, where'd we leave Sissy? Where'd she go? Let's go put Viking and Puck away, though. All right. Any other questions or comments, Mark?
No, I don't see. I see a lot of links in here, but none of them are questions.
And the links, are there any links to like hot springs type sites?
There's one for GeoNote.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, here is cattails.
Yeah, well, show Mark, take the screen away and quickly
Mhm.
show, go to designer and show a little glimpse. You'll get the first glimpse of our book we're going to be publishing about
Oh
cattails.
yeah, right. Okay, I'll just open that up.
Oh, Kendall. She will jump in, but she's lazy. There you go. Come here, Bikes. Come here, buddy.
Yeah, we have a bunch of books that are coming out soon.
Up,
So,
up. Come here, Viking. Show the cattail one. Come on.
okay, I'll pull that up.
I'm going to grab Sadie. She was being quiet now. I usually don't reward them for crying, but she's being quiet now, so I can let her out. I
Right.
might attract Sissy to come back too. Two of them run together. Yes.
All right, I'll take the screen now. All right, so here are the books that we're going to be publishing. And
Are you showing your screen, Mark? Because I've got
yes,
it's sort of weird with Sadie here. It's down
yeah,
at her. Sadie, no, 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 no. She's running. I gotta take me,
okay.
Goofy. She's got the leash and she's running. No, no,
Uh-oh.
no. Stay there. Here. Good girl. Good girl. She came back. I can talk. I can't mark. You showing the books?
Yeah, already. I'll pull it up again.
I was being, boy, this dog pulled the leash right out of my hand.
Oh, your dog's getting crazy. Right.
She's off the chart strong. Well, it is probably close to top of the hour. I
Right.
really need to go find Sissy, who's running out here somewhere, and also take feed to the horse. Sadie's peeing. Sadie's going to get upset, try to pull this out of my hand again when we get to Sissy. Looking at this, she goes, "Oh, I don't know that I've ever seen that before." That's she's jumping up on the. Oh, she smells the birds from the bird cage I had. Come on, sis, get down, Sadie. All right, Mark, let's call it a wrap.